Hey, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review. Going to be talking about the original Black Panther in 4K. I'm going back to the entire Marvel series of movies, the MCU as it's called, with someone who has not seen them. And I love doing that. I've done it several times since the movies have come out, whether it be friends or a girlfriend or whatever. An opportunity to revisit this with new eyes, with new time, with the movies that have come since the last time I revisited. I know people watch Lord of the Rings on an annual basis or Harry Potter on an annual basis. I don't plan to watch all 25, 26, what are we up to, 28 now? MCU movies every year, but it was a good opportunity to do so. And as of last night, I'm up to Black Panther, watching it again. Black Panther was not one of my favorite MCU movies when it came out back in 2018. I enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the better MCU movies, but it's not one that I've gone back to time and time again because it's always felt a little long to me, especially because, well, we have a couple of false endings in the movie. And that happens, especially in comic book stories where you think somebody's gone or dead or whatever, and then they come back, and then that just creates a whole lot of new set of things they have to deal with. So that kind of happens. I'm not going to get into too many spoilers, but most people have seen this movie, I think. It was made for $200 million. It went on to gross $1.3 billion. Not only did critics liked it, it was also noted for cultural significance. The National Board of Review, American Film Institute, named it one of the top films of 2018. It broke numerous box office records. Highest grossing film directed by a black filmmaker, the 9th highest grossing film of all time, the 3rd highest grossing film in the U.S. and Canada, and the 2nd highest grossing film of 2018. 7 Academy Award nominations at the Academy Awards. It was the first superhero film to receive a Best Picture nomination. Now Wakanda Forever opened up in November, and they're working on a TV series based in Wakanda on Disney+. It's obviously done a few things well. Rewatching it this time, I enjoyed it more than I have any other time, and that's including in the movie. I guess when you know what's coming, and you've kind of lowered that bar personally yourself based on your previous experiences, when something surprises you, especially that you've seen it before, and you go, you know what? I like it better this time. I'm revisiting it and allowing myself to look at things a little bit differently. I mean, obviously, with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, you look at all the Black Panther stuff differently, knowing that he was sick while he was filming these movies. I mean, the fight scenes are brutal. It had to be hard to do, especially knowing he was going through treatment at the time, not telling anybody about it. But the fight scenes are brutal, and there's multiple fight scenes that are quite brutal. This was pushing the R-rated envelope as far as I was concerned, just because of the subject matter. You had a bad guy that actually had reasons for doing what he was doing beyond the typical superhero stuff. I'm just a bad guy kind of thing. Killmonger actually had some logical things. He was wrong in some of it, but he had logical reasons for getting there. And when you got somebody like Michael B. Jordan going up against Chadwick Boseman, two acting titans, just it elevates the movie. Now, I like everybody else in the film, but, I mean, because Martin Freeman, Daniel Kaluuya, Letitia White, Wilson Duke, Sterling K. Brown, Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker, Andy Serkis, you could just go on and on and on and on and on. It is a massive cast. It's a massive movie, massive special effects. One of the things I never really liked the movie is at the end kind of devolves into another two computer-generated superheroes beating each other, in a voluminous space, which is exactly what happens in this movie. But I think they had done enough of the. I remember telling my friend that there's a lot of scenes with dudes with their shirt off beating the crap out of each other. So when we get to a scene where they're wearing superhero outfits and they're beating the crap out of each other, it doesn't feel as the same. I was a little bit wrong on that, too. I mean, yeah, some of the stuff feels a little floaty, it was 2018, CG's gotten better. But I thought it wasn't bad. And they do intercut with some real fight scenes during that and all the other fights in it. But the fight choreography is very good. This was one of the first MCU movies that I think they really knocked the fight choreography out of the park as they were getting ready for Infinity War and and Shang-Chi and some of the more fight-oriented movies that come later. I think everybody was good in it. It's a shame that Chadwick Boseman passed because I would like to see this entire cast move forward. I have not watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever because I wanted to revisit these movies and go see it if it's still in theaters, hopefully. Now, it is, so I will here at Christmas time. I didn't know if it would be or not, but it is, so I'll get a chance to see it. Wanted to make sure my partner could be caught up on these movies and watch it. So next up for us is Endgame. I mean, not Endgame, Infinity War. So I'm very excited about that. She has no idea what's coming. In the meantime, Black Panther is fantastic. I watched it this time and really was blown away with it. As I said in my previous review, I was never a Black Panther fan of the comic book. I didn't read Black Panther. He wasn't a character that I ever picked up a comic book or read the backstory of. I didn't, watching this movie was the first inkling I had. I knew he existed. He makes an appearance in some Avengers things and things like that. But back in the day when I was reading Marvel Comics, there wasn't a whole lot of Black Panther to be found. So I didn't have a lot of familiarity with it. And watching it now, and after watching the MCU multiple times and seeing how he fits in the puzzle and how it's gone on and what they've gone to do with him and the character and the ideas and such put forth here, I just wish he was still around to do more. But anyway, the entire cast returns for Wakanda Forever, and they deal with, for the first time in the MCU, actual tragedy, other than what happens in the events of Endgame. But they lose a main character, they lose a king, they lose an actor friend. From what I've seen from the trailers and what I've heard about reviews in Wakanda Forever, it borderlines on not acting because they're genuinely broken up in talking about him and his character because we all miss him. He did such a fantastic job. The movie is really good. In watching it, this is my probably fourth time through. I liked it the best so far, and I'm stoked to go forward into the MCU now. I don't know. I don't know why this hit me differently. Maybe because I have somebody next to me that has a background in psychology saying there's a lot more involved as far as the bad guy goes and the reasons behind things, and I totally agree with that. I saw it from a different perspective this time. So if you still haven't seen it or you're avoiding the MCU because, I don't know, superhero movies are dumb or they're all the same or whatever, they're not. And all that stuff you hear on the internet about that, the MCU has done a wonderful thing. Hopefully James Gunn and the new DCU can do something different. I don't want them to do the same thing, but a shared universe where they can make a hero for just about anybody these days. And it doesn't have to be the biggest movie of all time. This was one of them, so glad it knocked it out of the park. But, some of the other movies, Shang-Chi was a hit, but not the biggest movie of all time. MCU's gotten big enough. Geek fandom has gotten big enough. We can have these individual and left of field, right of field kind of superhero stories. I'm glad this one was great. Glad it worked in the MCU. Watching it again this time, as much thought and care was put into this as any of the others, even more so. The cultural significance of it, I don't know. I just really has moved up, way up in the pantheon of MCU movies for me. Top 10, easy. So anyway, Black Panther. It's available on 4K. I have the nice steelbook that's way out of print now, but if you haven't picked up Black Panther by now, it's been out for 4 years, you should, for many reasons. So getting back to the MCU, I don't plan to re-review a lot of the movies, but I am getting up to Infinity War, and I'll probably have some things to say about it rewatching Infinity War and Endgame again. Anyway, I'm glad you took the time out to listen to this Black Panther review. When I can see Wakanda Forever, I'll post a new review of that. Scott Hamilton, I'm ROCKFILE. My links are below. Have a spectacular day. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.